Would Mr. Delcy Bean IV please come forward? The citation will be read by Trustee James Coughlin, Sr.
Good morning. Delcy D. Bean IV, with entrepreneurial vision and a commitment to expanding opportunity, you have transformed innovation into impact for business individuals and communities alike. From founding Paragus IT at just the age of 13 years old, to leading it as Chief Executive Officer, you have built one of the region's most successful and fastest growing information technology firms, demonstrating what determination, creativity, and forward-thinking leadership can achieve. Your direction at Paragus IT has set a national standard for business and culture. By earning a place on the Forbes 25 Small Giants list and Inc. magazine's 5,000 fastest growing business list, you have proven that it is possible to cultivate a thriving, purpose-driven company that puts employees and communities first while achieving outstanding market results. You charted this path early on as your company expanded. So too did your commitment to sustainability. You founded Tech Foundry, an educational not-for-profit dedicated to preparing individuals from underrepresented communities for careers in information technology, helping to address workforce needs in the region while opening doors for those seeking opportunities. You also demonstrated bold leadership by transitioning Paragus to a 100% employee-owned company, a process completed in 2024. Through this model, you aim not only to grow the company nationally, but to build meaningful wealth and shared success for employees, with a vision of creating more than 100 employee-owner millionaires and changing lives. Your achievements have been recognized with numerous regional honors, including Entrepreneur of the Year and 40 Under 40 distinctions, and Paragus has been named Best Employee-Owned Company. Beyond your professional accomplishments, you have contributed your expertise to public and academic institutions, advising state leaders on economic and technology matters. Your tenure as a Bay Path University trustee demonstrates your commitment to educational access. Because of your entrepreneurial vision, your commitment to expanding opportunity for others, and your leadership in strengths, business, and communities, Delcy D. Bean IV, you are honored today on the second day of May, 2026, as the recipient of the Doctor of Business Administration honoris causa, with all rights and privileges appertaining thereto from Nichols College. Congratulations.
Congratulations to both of you, and well deserved. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Dr. Delcy Bean IV.
Thank you, President Baczynski, the Board of Trustees, the esteemed faculty, proud families, and most importantly, the Nichols class of 2026. It is an incredible honor to be standing here today sharing this milestone with all of you. But I have a confession to make. Looking out at all of you in your caps and gowns, about to receive degrees that you spent years sweating over, studying for, and earning, I feel a little guilty. I have a little imposter syndrome. You see, I'm standing up here today receiving an honorary doctorate of business administration, but the truth is, I've never spent a single day in a college classroom. By earning your degrees today, you have already accomplished something that I never did. Honestly, if you were to look at my academic credentials, I am wildly, spectacularly unqualified to be giving you any advice at all. When I started my first company, I was just a teenager in high school. I knew absolutely nothing about business, about managing people, about keeping books, about filing taxes, all the things you probably should know when you go to start a company. And to be honest, I wasn't even all that great with computers, despite the fact that I was starting an IT firm. But I had an idea, and I had passion. So I went ahead, I signed a commercial lease, I hired some people, I started spending money on marketing, and I had this loose understanding of how it was all going to work out. The truth is, it was a lot of crossing my fingers and just hoping that somehow I'd make it happen. It went exactly as you'd expect. Just to keep the lights on, just to make those lease payments, I had to work 4 side jobs. At one point, the CEO of this up-and-coming tech company was simultaneously working construction sites, stocking shelves at Staples, and even working as a nanny. I'll tell you, there's nothing quite as humbling as trying to mentally construct a corporate strategic plan while you're changing a toddler's diaper. There was countless nights that I lied awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling a pit in my stomach, because I knew payroll was due the next morning, and I knew there was not enough money in the bank account. I had to go to bed those nights with nothing but belief that somehow it would all work out. And here's the thing, it's easy to look at where I am today and some of the things that I've accomplished and see me as a success. But the reality is that for each of my successes, there was an equal, actually greater, number of failures. I've had 2 failed business partnerships. I got rejected from my dream school twice. And I came dangerously close to opening up a restaurant called the Purple Sombrero. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. In fact, at one point in my career, fueled by a dangerous mix of ambition and total ignorance, I decided to pick a fight with the world's 3rd largest antivirus company. I quickly learned 2 things. 1, I was severely outmanned. And 2, I knew nothing about how Eastern European business culture worked. That little misadventure alone cost me more money than I'd ever like to admit. Pro tip for the business majors out there, don't let your ego dictate your decisions. The reality is that anyone who has succeeded has also failed. However, the failures don't often make the resume or the LinkedIn profile. We don't celebrate them. In fact, we often don't even acknowledge them, which I think is a disservice. I think it sets a bad image for what success really means. But here's the secret about failure. Those failures were infinitely more important to me than my successes. Why? Because the successes wouldn't have been possible without them. Failure is the tuition you pay for the exact education you need. Because I lacked the conventional qualifications, because I didn't have a degree, I had to rely on something else. I relied purely on my passion. And passion can be the ultimate engine. It can fuel your confidence. It can give you the unyielding energy to push through the hardest, darkest, and most terrifying moments in your life. It was that exact same untamed passion that allowed me to sit down one day sketch out an idea for a nonprofit on a napkin, and decide to make it real. I had no idea how to start a nonprofit, not that ever stopped me before, but 9 short months later, based on that napkin, an organization called Tech Foundry was born. In that short time, I had somehow convinced a landlord to give us the entire floor of an office building for free. I'd raised $500,000 from local investors. And I'd put together an incredible board of directors. On opening day, the governor of Massachusetts even drove all the way to Springfield, Mass. From Boston just to cut the ribbon and welcome our students. Fast forward 11 years, and just yesterday, I was doing an interview for a finalist candidate at one of our companies. At the end of the interview, the candidate asked me, "Are you the same Delcy Bean that started Tech Foundry?" I had to laugh because it's not like there's a lot of Delcy Beans floating around Massachusetts. But I did acknowledge that I was. And she went on to tell me how Tech Foundry had completely changed her life. That she was directionless, she didn't know what was next, she didn't know where she was going, and she didn't know where she'd be had she not found that organization. I had never met this person before that interview, but that's the impact you can have when you follow your passions. Today, Tech Foundry has graduated over 1,000 of those students, has potentially changed the lives of those 1,000 people, not to mention their families and their communities. None of that happened because I was qualified. It happened because I was willing to try and I was willing to fail. I tell you these stories because I know exactly what you're stepping into as you leave this campus today. Through my work over the last 18 months, I've delivered dozens of keynote addresses on how AI is disrupting everything. I've had a front row seat to just how fast the world is changing. I know that now is a very uncertain time to be entering the job market. The rules of the economy are shifting beneath our feet. Industries are changing overnight. It is entirely natural to look at the world right now and feel a bit anxious about what the future holds for you. I want to validate that anxiety. It is real. But I also want to offer you an alternative perspective, one that many will miss because they allow their fears to overshadow their passions. The way I see it, there has literally never been a more exciting time to be entering the working world. When the rules are being rewritten, it means the playing field is leveled. The old gatekeepers are distracted. The traditional paths are no longer the only paths. We are living in a moment of almost limitless possibility. Right now, the world is set up so that almost anyone can do almost anything and be almost anyone. And I know some of you as supportive parents have been hearing that since you were just a baby, but I don't think it's ever been more true than it is today. You don't have to wait your turn anymore. But a leveled playing field is just that. It's a field. What matters is who is going to step onto that field and show us where we go next. More than anything else in the world, more than new technology or software, more than new businesses, what we desperately need right now are new leaders. And when I say leaders, I'm not talking about fancy job titles or the person with the corner office or the one with the most impressive resume. In my humble opinion, those are meaningless distractions from what really matters. I'm talking about people who are willing to stand up for what is right, especially when it's unpopular. I'm talking about people who can look at a broken system and imagine something better. I'm talking about people who create, who have the power to unite. People who are brave enough to blaze new trails, even when they feel completely unqualified to do so. Class of 2026, I have had the honor and the privilege of meeting some of you and getting to know some of your stories. You are ambitious, you are open-minded, you are collaborative, and you are hopeful. You have all the tools in this world that you need. All that's left is for you to find your passion, that thing that fuels you, that energizes you, that makes the impossible feel possible and the failures feel worth it. As you walk out of here today, degree in hand, do not wait until you feel ready. Do not wait until you feel qualified. And do not wait until someone tells you it's your turn. Rely on your passion. Let it fuel your confidence. Embrace the sleepless nights and the failures that are inevitably coming your way, because they're just preparing you for the moments that matter. You have the gift of being able to see things in a whole new way, unencumbered by decades of this is how we've always done it. This is the time for molds to be broken, for big, bold ideas, for embracing that uncertainty and seeing it for the opportunity that it is. Now is your time. Step out into this wildly uncertain but yet incredibly beautiful world and lead us forward. We are waiting on you, and we need you. Congratulations, class of 2026.